We shall talk to them. This is like the poet.
Cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look.
Or is it just a vendor?
Don't be afraid.
Hello, sir.
Welcome, sir. Please take a browse of my wares.
I am Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions.
Doctor? Interesting. I'm Barrett Lewis. Usually I don't have time to waste with talk, but at this hour of the night I can hardly refuse.
Have you heard of a nurse called Dorothy Crane?
Nurse Crane? So the bitch really is a nurse then? Always thought she was just some crafty foreigner, that one.
Yes, she's a nurse, and quite a good one. What did she do to gain such notoriety?
Dorothy Crane ain't even a real name. Something like Dorothea Craniu. Something like that. Came to England fleeing the war, I was told.
That doesn't explain why she irritates you so much.
Your precious Nurse Crane gives away medical supplies and prescriptions for free. I offered to sell it for a fair cut, but no. Miss Crane wanted to play the quiet saint.
The fuck? Right.
How is business around here?
Business? I have no business. Between this racket, theft, and customers getting scared, I'm losing money every day.
I see. Sounds like you blame someone in particular for your situation.
It's no secret Joe Peterson spends his time harassing merchants. But with me, he's trying to put me out of business once and for all.
Wow, we got a lot of hints from this guy. He's extorting him. It's a tough financial situation because of Joe's extortion.
As a merchant, you
Oh, fuck.
see Whitechapel every day. Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary recently?
Well, you mean besides the epidemic, the war, and all the usual crap? As long as I can remember, this part of town has been a bottomless pit, and no sign of the bottom yet.
Yeah, it makes sense if it's bottomless.
Violence is increasing in the borough.
Yeah. A few nights ago, some blokes jumped me. Came out of one of the condemned workshops. Fever, madness, something like that.
Where did this happen? Why did you go there?
In the closed workshops nearby. I worked there as an apprentice in better days. Now I only go to find trinkets or tools. Too bad I was mugged, though. There was good money in that little box of loot I lost.
Okay. So he gives us a quest to retrieve his loot box without knowing it.
Have you been hurt?
No, but that's only because I ran like hell. Those men were raving lunatics, I tell you. Not even able to speak anymore, just screaming.
Right. Probably Skulls, yeah. Always forget their names. Cannot do that yet.
Right then. Show me what you have.
Although why I cannot do that yet? I should supposed to be what? I'm supposed to be able to do it, I guess. No, his one is cheaper by 3 shillings. Don't remember if I need a common or a good one. Alright, fine. At least I know he sells. Hey dude.
Excuse me, sir. I have a few questions for you.
Another journalist? I didn't answer the first one, so piss off!
I'm not a journalist, I'm a doctor.
A doctor, you say? It's quite a rare breed in this part of town.
Really? But still, here I am. Dr. Jonathan Reed, at your service.
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus Joe to most. And I don't remember asking for your service, sir.
Is that like a discount Jason Statham? However.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane? She's a colleague of mine, and is supposed to live around here.
Dorothy Crane? Yeah, I know her. One of the few good souls who dare to help the sick around here.
Could you please tell me more about her?
She's a nice girl. Tries to help the migrants. I offered to give her a hand, but she said my reputation would attract too much attention.
May I ask what you do around here?
I do whatever I want, and sometimes even more. Now sod off.
According to you...
Not familiar with this neighborhood, are you? I guess your fancy colleagues are too afraid of being stabbed in the back.
This part of town does have quite a reputation. Would you say it's justified?
Totally. Look at me, for instance. I always look my opponent in the eye before knocking him out.
How did you become the local bully everyone is afraid of, Joe?
There's no pride in roughing up poor bastards. But this is the only job I've found. And it pays well, too.
A job? So you're racketeering for someone else?
I got enlisted by the Wet Boot Boys, a gang from the docks. I'm their muscle for their dirty work.
Most people don't become thugs when unemployed. This is a choice you made.
I don't care what you think, sir. I do what I have to do for my own reasons, and that's that.
I'm not sure Mr. Lewis would agree with your by all means necessary philosophy, sir.
Oh, do you really think he's the poor victim here? Barrett can be as sneaky as anyone. Long ago, I even called the bastard my best friend.
Interesting.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Very interesting. Where is that dude? Oh, there is that dude.
Joe, please, I don't have your money.
Come on, Barrett, you know the game. You pay for peace of mind.
Can't you just look the other way this week, Joe? Come on, we can sort it out, right?
It's not my call, Barrett. You pay one way or another.
Please, Joe. How long have we known each other? We even used to be neighbours, for Christ's sake.
I'd prefer not to give you another beating, Barrett.
Yep.
Fancy buying something, sir?
You never...
Now, fencing asking a question.
Joe Peterson. He's the villain here, isn't he? But you seem to know each other.
I'd known Joe for years. I saw him box once or twice. He was a friend then. And these days, he's just another thug.
What can you tell me about Mr. Peterson? Besides his behavior toward you, obviously.
Colossus Joe was a decent boxer, good one even. But after his wife passed away, he found every excuse to stop training. Just wanted to pick fights with everyone.
Yeah. Morning is never easy. Mostly true. And despair can be a poison.
Without making excuses for him, it's safe to say that despair can poison even the sanest mind.
We've all had some rough times, ain't we? But most of us don't use our fists to see us through.
Yeah, true.
And no one has ever stood up to this thug.
Nobody would be fool enough to stand against the Wet Boot Boy.
Yeah.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Lewis.
I so wish to embrace those wet boot guys. Yeah, we got two more characters here. Is it the poet? I think it's the poet.
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
No.
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel. But perhaps you could help me since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Reed.
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I'm able, sir.
Right.
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
It's a disgrace. People are left to die alone. No one is properly informed of the risks.
These are bad times indeed. So much for the glorious British Empire.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
Not sure if there is a rational explanation. And it's not as simple, well, it was one of the deadliest epidemics ever. Sure, let's go with this. My rationalism has been recently shaken. It's very in the grey area answer.
I must confess, some of my rational views have been shaken by recent events.
I'll remember to stay away from the district's roughest streets then.
Okay.
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war.
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
He wants the newspaper to print the truth about Whitechapel's situation. Okay. Thought something more revealing would be there. Fatigue. Maybe I should heal him. I probably should heal him. Yeah. He sounds like the good sort.
That's quite honorable of you. But is the public interested?
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist, hoping to sell some stories.
Right. Personal questions. Cannot. The quest.
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance of theirs. Why do you care?
I'm a doctor, Mr. Darby. I care about everything involving public health and this epidemic.
Are you sure you're not just concerned about the repercussions that a scandal involving a certain Nurse Crane from the Pembroke Hospital would bring?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious. Never goes out. Doesn't seem to have any friends or family.
He has no relatives at all?
No. Except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nethercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him in.
Where can I find this Mr. Nethercott?
He spends most of his time lurking around Whitechapel, talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him behind the church.
He never goes out?
No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
Interesting.
Do you need assistance?
That would be nice of you, Doctor. Who knows what I may have caught during my investigation.
If you persist in investigating the most pox-ridden boroughs of London, you must accept the risks.
Thank you, sir.
Alright.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell.
Okay. It will avoid... Oh yeah, I need to check the mailbox. Yeah. It doesn't show which one is the mailbox. It will avoid the district to become chaotic, I guess.
Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias Whitaker is always happy to teach mortals about the incoming Armageddon.
I am Dr. Jonathan Reed, and I just have a few questions.
A scientist? You are much more lost than I thought, my son.
Right.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like the liberal ideas of nurses. but I especially abhor that Nurse Crane you mentioned.
Why not? Why you don't like nurses? I mean, especially her.
So you're not exactly a fan of Florence Nightingale's work. But nurses are essential for modern healthcare.
Nuns should be the only women allowed to take care of male patients. It's obvious only they have the necessary moral fiber.
Right.
Why do you hate Nurse Crane more than other nurses?
Before coming to London, she was a member of the communist resistance in her country. That's what happens when you let a woman get involved in politics.
She was a commie. Interesting. Or she was resisting communism. What did he say?
Do you?
I don't like the liberal life.
No.
Why do you hate?
Before coming to London, she was a member of the communist resistance in her country.
Communist resistance. What does that mean? She resisting communism?
Have you any friends? Any family left in these terrible times?
No. But I have a disciple I see as my son. He is so devoted. I sent him to preach the good word in the heart of this corrupted city.
Where did you send him?
I sent Samuel to the Stonebridge Cemetery, where the pestilence and evil grows night after night.
You sent him on some preaching crusade during the epidemic.
As a true believer, Samuel will fear no evil while he walks through the valley of the shadow of death.
This guy's insane.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences, and most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am.
But you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
I am. But the answers I seek are based on facts, not superstition. What do you mean? Quite a judgment.
I'm wondering what was the I'm listening part.
Well, I suppose I can spare a few minutes.
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic. But let me tell you that this so-called Spanish flu is just the beginning of the end.
What do you mean?
The beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the flesh and the heart of men. With my own eyes I have seen them, those minions from the abyss.
Really? And what would be your answer to this biblical threat?
We must fight the disease before this legion outnumbers us. But not with scalpels and microscopes. No.
What is left then?
Cleansing fire.
Oh nice, it gave me a hint. It's to cleanse the epidemic with fire. So he wants to burn the fucking city.
Tell me, Tobias, what exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing of this city?
God will recognize his own. More than once this city has risen from the ashes, hardened and purified by the flames.
Purification by fire has proved useful, but where do you stop? Burn the clothes? The buildings? The corpses? Worse?
Your lack of faith is predictable. But my task is to convince rational minds like yours to see the light. This is God's will.
You're mad and dangerous. You're nothing but a soulless butcher. A small-time Torquemada. The Savonarola of Whitechapel.
My son, if you think salvation is a free gift, Go listen to the lies of that pompous fool, Joseph.
Joseph, a fool.
Vicar Larrabee of St. Mary's Church. While he continues preaching his fraudulent redemption, more and more people die in the streets.
Hey.
I have heard enough for
Alright, we got 2 clues. Oh. Thought maybe I could use skills here, but I cannot. I could not mesmerize that dude. Oh, he's dead. Hello.
Pep, don't be shy, handsome. What can Christina do for you?
I'm not looking for what you're selling. But I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I may. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reed.
All right then, but be quick. Though I usually get paid when I open my mouth.
Right. Okay.
Christina, have you been examined? The epidemic is spreading fast in London, and you could be exposed. Or expose others.
I don't like doctors or hospitals, but I don't like you asking questions.
Considering your line of work, I assure you it is only a matter of time before you have health issues.
If it is going to happen, it will happen. Right now, I need money. That's what's important.
Yeah. This is actually a good point from her point of view, I guess. It reminds me of something Dr. Peterson once said. He said something along those lines. The poor don't care about climate change. Like, who gives a fuck about climate change? Oh my god, the world is gonna die. You know, whatever the whole alarmism about climate change is on about. While people are fucking starving, you know, working 10 hours a day to try and feed themselves and their families. Who gives a fuck about climate change? They will burn fuel and they will drive cars and they will pollute and whatever, as long as they keep themselves and their children alive. Just from that point of view, like, they don't care. I mean, not that they don't care. They care about their children. That's the point of view.
You can put your own life in danger. That's your decision. But what about your clients? If you're contaminated, you will put them in danger too.
And you think that would worry me? If you knew the men I deal with, their health would not be what you'd worry about.
Clayton Darby claims he will expose the crisis in Whitechapel to all of London. Do you believe him?
I believe Clayton's courage will erode with time, until he finally leaves Whitechapel to start another fight somewhere else.
Why this skepticism?
How can you speak about starvation if you've never been hungry? Or about poverty? Or anything else you have never suffered from?
Yeah, true. That is actually another good point. It's like every time that I see or hear about or read about some celeb or Hollywood elitist, or even in my country, like all those famous people, quote unquote, I guess, they just like, oh, we must, like they're speaking from the high horse, or, you know, with their condescending voice of, ooh, you're just like, bitch. And when I say bitch, I mean both genders. Like, bitch, fuck you. I mean, you don't even fucking know what poverty is. Really, you don't. I mean, as someone that have seen some dark times, trust me, some people would wish to have my dark times, right? But for me, as someone that's seen some dark times, that really didn't know how to end the month, and sometimes would starve myself for a few days a week just to survive the month, or it's just like, what, bitch, what the fuck are you talking about? You don't know fucking shit. Just like, stick to your root. You're an actor, fucking act. You're a singer, fucking sing. Save your political views and your ideas of something that you claim to understand without understanding to your own fucking self. Like, whatever.
Are you talking from experience?
I've seen your type come here to get a good fuck in a cheap room or a dark alley before going back to their fancy houses in the West End.
Is that like the... I remember... No. No, what? Where was it? Yeah, is this the West End? We have the docks, the hospital, Whitechapel, which is whatever, an unknown district. Is this the West End? If she's talking about rich people, I see a few, like this guy with the top hat. Looks like a rich person to me. This one. They all look like a bit fancy to me. I don't know. Oh, sorry.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Anything you can tell me about her would be helpful.
I don't know her, but I know her name is Dorothea Crăciunescu. She came from Romania like me and many others.
You seem to respect her.
Dorothea helps the sick people of Whitechapel. Everyone should respect that.
So I was fucking right. God damn it. You remember when we wrote the note that she left? And it had like English and other language, and I said, is it Polish or maybe Romanian? So it was fucking Romanian. Haha. I knew it. Very, very proud of myself.
Tell me about yourself.
Are you joking with me? People don't usually come to see me for conversation.
I have no interest in your work. I am, however, curious as to what led you into this career.
Short story. The war, exile, and England. This country is not especially welcoming. I've been refused many jobs because of where I am from. I had few options left.
Interesting. Oh. What was it? Choose a Minecraft, yeah.
I always thought I was the master of my own fate. But now I know we don't always have control over our lives. I don't judge you.
You know, this money is not only for me. I have good reasons to need this money quickly. But it is not your concern, Doctor.
Why? Maybe I can help.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.